Welcome, everyone, to Ladder Daily Digest and Momo Nomo. And we're virtually in Tim Rathbone's living room. And we're going to talk about who is your favorite apostle.
Indeed.
But anyhow, Randy, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Let me tell you, with all of the apostles that there have been in the past, it's like walking into Baskin Robbins 31 flavors and telling you what if I didn't like ice cream and telling you that there's only one flavor that I will eat. And that is the apostle that is my favorite. What I'm trying to say is I don't have any favorite apostles except for one.
Yeah.
And?
Well,
you're going to save it? You're teasing it?
Kimball, the cussing apostle.
He wasn't an apostle.
He was a 70.
He was a 70.
Oh, shit.
Which actually, back in the day, was almost equal to apostles.
Yeah.
So, and I was also going to include any church leader, any general church leader, because we don't care if your Bishop Brown in 1962 was good or anything, because nobody else can relate. But that actually is a good selection because J. Golden Kimball is a favorite church leader of mine as well.
Really?
I think all of us would agree that he was the most colorful of the bunch.
And human.
He was. We could say it. He was a frickin' badass apostle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He kind of said it like it was. He didn't try to whitewash his words.
Never.
Song just has a knot.
A knot?
So that's next week's show.
Oh, no, no.
Next week's show is who is the most asshole apostle?
Oh, so Ezra.
I'm just teasing.
John Bircher, Bent Taft, Communist Conspiracy, Benson. Is that the one you're talking about? Oh, maybe. You only heard about him? You didn't live under him? Oh my God.
Yeah, just like Randy, I was thinking, well, like when did Randy see J. Golden Kimball talk?
I've listened to a recording.
Oh yeah.
His high-pitched voice. Yeah, very high-pitched
voice.
Yeah.
From 1958.
I must have heard him too at some point.
Oh, we've all heard it. He's probably on YouTube somewhere. Oh, here comes Jan.
My finger's being bit off by my taper.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So anyway, yeah, J. Golden Kimball, albeit not I thought he was an apostle, but
you know what?
He was always swearing.
Yes.
This son of a bitch and this damn thing. And I heard him use the term goddamn one time. Today when I was listening to his different speeches. And that kind of surprised me because that's kind of like a biggie, for a modern day leader to take the Lord's name in vain like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should just made it your favorite general authority rather than apostle.
Well, that's the title. It could be.
Yeah.
This show, it could wind up to be what's your favorite shish kebab recipe.
Yeah,
you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I used to love them all. Now I don't like any of them except for Jay Golden.
Yeah, and you know what? Like when I remember seeing leaders of other churches, like I don't know, for some reason I'd see pictures of the Seventh-day Adventist global leaders. And I think those guys are a bunch of schmoes, right? But compared to our people, and then and I feel the same with when I see apostles that were in spoken general conference that I don't recognize, I kind of
Right.
feel like they're a schmo as well, because there's nobody ever put those people on the wall and praise them, and like they do nowadays. All the lessons are like some conference talk now.
Yeah.
Well, Gene, maybe if I thought these were men of God, I'd have a whole different attitude. But these are guys with jobs that pay quite well,
Yeah.
and they get paid to agree with the prophet. They're the 12 yes men, and the 2 counselors are paid to agree with the prophet and push his word out there.
All sycophants.
So
Obsequious sycophants.
we have somebody joining the show. Chris, are you ready? Chris is setting up his camera, it looks like.
Okay.
When Chris is ready, I'll add him to the stage. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, Chris. And so anyhow, like I didn't know Hugh B. Brown very much, but he's becoming one of my favorite apostles.
Why,
Yeah.
Gene?
About him.
Is he a down-to-earth guy?
He was
Hugh
a Canadian.
Brown
He was a Democrat.
was very
He
liberal.
was very liberal.
Oh, nice. I like that.
He was as liberal as he could be for who he was and what his position was.
It surprises me that there are any liberal apostles. That
Well,
kinda
there aren't
shocks me.
anymore.
Yeah, you got
There-
your green glasses on now for March 17th something.
Well, exactly. That's exactly
Saint-
what I was thinking. It's
Saint
St.
Green
Patrick's
Person's Day.
Yeah.
You ready?
So
Okay, let's bring Chris on. Chris, have you ever watched our show before?
Can you hear me?
yes.
I can.
yes.
Okay. No, I just tuned in for the last couple minutes last week, and
Okay.
you guys invited me back, and so I just wanted to come hang out a little bit.
Cool.
I remember that we invited Chris to come back and join us. Chris, you are a member of the church, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We love it when we have active members come on to, offer their point of view, because we have more and more members watching. And I've noticed something, all of you, since the prophet gave his talk, his inauguratory talk to BYU, and Neil Anderson following up saying, stay away from the Mormon podcasts, or I should say ex-Mormon podcasts. Don't listen to them. I have had more feedback on my TikTok and YouTube channel or Facebook channel that I could believe. More people coming to the defense of the church, which I love it, because you know what? I always thank them for listening, whether they agree with me or not. I'm glad they're on listening to what I have to say. But I've noticed that it's increased like threefold the responses from active members.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to reach out and understand one another and build bridges and create friendships. So I think that's important. We may not agree, but we can still be friends.
Of course.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on for sure, Chris.
Thank you.
So, Tim, do you have a favorite apostle?
Well,
Tim
Jaber,
Like, were you set apart as a missionary by an apostle?
no, but by my stake president.
Oh, stake president. Did you interact with any apostles when you were in Salt Lake?
Well,
I can tell you.
Hinckley was the one that answered the questions after the endowment.
Okay.
No, I don't think.
When you were a missionary, who was your favorite apostle? I know that's going back a couple hundred years. You might have to.
Well, Hinckley and McConkie came to the mission.
Right.
And Maxwell and the other Dunn, Lauren C. Dunn. Lauren came for a state conference. He wanted to do a mission conference, but President Perker said, "Do you know how much time it takes to get missionaries to Dusseldorf from far away as Espelkamp, where they had to catch the train like early in the morning and ride for hours to get?" I mean, it was really disappointing that he couldn't preach to us. Remember that.
Right.
No, I really didn't have a favorite.
Okay.
I mean, I liked probably Hugh Brown. Yeah.
And was Sterling W. Sill a 70, or was he an apostle?
I think he was an apostle.
My dad, for some reason, liked him, or maybe I just heard of him more because he wrote a lot of books or something.
Or maybe you're just making that name up.
Nope. I'm not. Chris, who's your favorite apostle?
Yeah, he wasn't. It was a 70.
I always loved Neil A. Maxwell. To this day, I love Neil A. Maxwell.
Was there a talk that you can think of that was, or just the types of talks that he gave?
The types of talks, and then there was one specific. He talked about discipleship, becoming a disciple, where he talked about his experiences in World War II. So I really enjoyed those.
Chris, what part of the country do you live in?
I live in the great state of Texas.
Oh, you're in well. We've got a lot of listeners and cohorts in Texas,
and former listeners,
and former listeners. Probably a ton of them.
Just so I know, so you served in Germany. Who else? Just I would just caught the very tail end of last week.
Randy served in Spain.
Okay.
And I served myself ice cream instead of going on a mission. I had two older brothers that were let's see. Well, my oldest brother went on a mission and then he got married and then he sort of dropped off the planet for a little while. And the brother just older than I was shacking up with a girl. And my two younger brothers, one didn't go to church and the other one asked me after seminary once in high school, "Are we Christian?" And that was in the late 70s. And I guess that's when the born again Christians first started telling everybody that Mormons aren't Christian or whatever.
That was probably 76.
Yeah. And so I told them that we were Christian. Just look at the name of our church. And so if anybody ever asks, just have them look at the name of the church, right? And so I felt that my mission was to save my brothers, and one of them was never savable ever. And the other brother that wondered if we were Christians was a good athlete, and he was a good example. He was a good guy to everybody, but he wasn't really that interested in church. Right now, he goes to a non-denominational Christian church every now and then with his wife, but he's a pro golfer. So he teaches for a living. So
on my mission.
Oh, sorry, Tim.
On my mission, I was getting interested in McConkie because a missionary had Mormon doctrine, and I was kind of reading it. And then when I got home from my mission, I was studying New Testament, and then I read his Doctrine of New Testament commentary and thought it was a bunch of garbage. And then I thought about his Messiah series, and I started reading that. The thing is he kept quoting himself. He didn't go anywhere else but to himself or to his father-in-law. And by that point, I got so disgusted with him and his teachings that you're never going to learn anything new from this guy. Because he's supposed to be the great doctrinaire and all that stuff. And he just was piggybacking off of what Joseph Fielding wrote and said. Nothing really original with him.
I tend to agree with songs about President Hinckley. I think he was a personable, he came across as a pretty nice guy. I know that he has a few skeletons in his closet from what I understand, and I don't have that written
Well,
and signed in blood, but I just recently saw a show about him and a little docu series type thing.
his son was in my mission. Corey was in this, and they came over to pick him up, and we had a mission conference with Neil.
Oh, he was
Uh,
an apostle at the time, wasn't he?
No, he was still a 70 then.
Man, okay.
That was 70. I think it was 74 when Corey, Hinckley, Maxwell, McConnell. Yeah, had to be either 74 or 75.
Well, that's
And we all got to talk to him a little bit. We all had dinner. Well, we brought lunch bags, brown bag lunches in the cultural hall in the Dusseldorf Chapel. He came out and kind of walked around and talked to us. Yeah.
well, that's fun.
I
Did you glean?
liked. I got a good impression from him. His wagons rolling westward. Away his said things that kind of rhymed all the time, so people would remember what he said. And then he had a background with the CIA.
Are you talking about Hinckley?
No, Monson. Not
Monson.
Not Monson. Maxwell.
Oh, Maxwell, Neil.
Yeah. Neil.
Yeah, I heard him tell a poem one time. It started, it was about a man from Nantucket, but I don't think I can finish it.
No.
There was an old man from Nantucket.
Okay. Yeah. Not.
I'll just post a list of apostles in 1980.
Okay. Where?
Well, it's on the screen.
Okay. Peterson. Okay. Peterson exposed himself to my ex-wife in the Cottonwood Hospital when she was a candy striper and he was a patient there. Oh, LeGrand Richards. No, he wasn't on drugs.
Wow.
Wait, he exposed himself to who?
To my ex-wife.
Are you kidding?
No, she went in. She was a candy striper at Cottonwood Hospital, and she went in there to do something. He exposed himself to.
That would have been in the early 70s.
Maybe he thought he was the apostle Peter.
74.
Yeah.
I don't know. Debbie told me about that, and I said, "Are you serious?" Yeah, he showed me, and I went.
And you said, "Boy, I wish I was there."
She wrote it. She says, "Oh, he was just old and senile or something like that." I don't. That's how she wrote it off.
Did you ask who was bigger, you or he?
No. Let me see. Howard W. Hunter. All I know about Hunter is when he got married, Mike Quinn told the story that when Hunter was getting married after he lost his first wife, that he turned to the quorum of the 12 and he says, "I'm getting married Saturday and I don't want to see any of you at my wedding." Remember that?
He didn't want them to come. I don't know what's worse. What would be worse? You telling your other apostles not to come to your wedding or inviting them all and they don't come?
Yeah, exactly. Hinckley was okay. Monson, my mother knew Monson when she was at BYU.
Well, Monson wiggled his ears.
Wiggled his ears.
Yeah. Oh, was he the ear wiggler?
Yeah, he was the ear wiggler.
Right. Yeah.
That was. I tried to learn how to wiggle my ears partly because of him.
Oh boy, Packers. Well, we all know what Packers infamous for.
I guess I should show myself wiggling my ears.
I met L. Tom Perry before he
You'll
was an
never make it off the
apostle.
ground, Gene.
I kind of liked him. Yeah.
Paul H. Dunn came to our house for dinner.
Really?
Yeah. Big whoop, huh?
Well, the only time I ever saw him was he was sitting outside a room in the Wilkinson. I was there one night for something, and I was on the second floor, and he looked really tired, and I just kind of waved at him and went by. By that time, they didn't impress me anymore. It was just-
Well, I had cassette tapes of some of Paul H. Dunn's
oh yeah, I
talks,
used to listen.
and they were
I used to
exciting.
listen all the time on my mission. But by that time, Steve, when I saw him, I already knew Lynn Packard already published the stories in Sunstone about how he made it all up. And so, by then it was just like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me.
When was that, in the 90s?
No, that was in 82 or 83, 84.
When was he made emeritus? In the 90s or late 80s?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, come on, Tim.
I don't keep track. Hang
There
on.
was something about James E. Faust that
James E. Faust was the one.
sort of Faustian.
Well, my friend's family had been abused by their father for years. And they went to Faust when he was in the first presidency to talk to them, to tell them about all the abuse and stuff that had been going on. And his only response that she told me was, well, you didn't expect to find happiness in this life, did you, sister?
That was almost Buddhist of him to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Life is pain, right?
Right.
A little Buddhistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While Tim is pondering, I just want to go ahead, Tim.
1998 is when he became emeritus. Oh, September 89 to 98. Okay, because
so the late 80s is when they sort of kicked him out quietly.
Kicked him out. Yeah.
While there's a pause here, I have been talking a lot to Sandy Barnhart, for those of you who know her, and she is not doing very well, and she has been given a terminal diagnosis, as I mentioned last week. And so she's just, kind of making her final preparations. And, if you know her, if you're Facebook partners, friends with her, send her a little message of comfort, because I think she could use that. And show her your tapir. Or taper, Mr. Tim. Chris, did you go on a mission?
I did. I served in southern Russia.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Ooh, you got a double oh wow.
So were you in Volgograd?
No, but that was in my mission. I was further south. But that Volgograd was in our mission.
See, that's one of the only places I want to go.
It's beautiful. You should go.
I'm sure it is. Oh, the
history
steps.
is amazing.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the name of the alphabet? Is it Cyrillic or Cyrillic?
Cyrillic.
How easy or hard was it to learn Russian?
Well, a little bit of study and faith and gift of tongues. You can get it. It put some work into it, but it was challenging. I loved it. It was very challenging.
After your mission, did you want to study languages even more because of
yeah
because of
try
thinking
to keep it up,
different alphabets and
it's
Cyrillic
fascinating.
sort of comes from Greek.
Not exactly sure. Not sure. It's been a while.
More from the steppes. hard to explain.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it's a
that-
challenging language.
Yeah.
I love the Russian accent on a woman. It's to me that's just kind of badass in a sexy kind of way, you know?
That's because you envision yourself as Boris Badenov and you want to have a little fling with Natasha.
I am about the same height as Boris. I will admit that. Yeah, and Natasha, she was a pretty smoking cartoon character.
Yeah. Chris, are you near any of the new temples that are going up in in Texas?
In Russia, no, not Russia. Yes, I live in the Houston area, so we're getting a new temple here.
Oh, my son's in Houston.
Okay.
Okay,
Is it the second Houston temple?
it is. Yep. The north side. We currently have one up on the north side, so this one will be on the south side. So we're excited to have it.
Is Houston susceptible to hurricanes?
Yes, very much so.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Houston's down south on the coast.
Yeah, we're not too far from the coast. So we
It's
had
a-
Hurricane Beryl, 2 years ago, and that'll be a core memory for my kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why Houston Oilers was a football team called the Oilers, is because the oil out in the Gulf, right?
That's right.
Yeah, who are they now? The Colts?
Uh,
Or I mean the Houston.
oh yeah, I don't.
They're the Texans. The Oilers moved. I think they became the Titans, like if I remember correctly.
Oh, did they?
Tennessee, something like that. But then the Texans came to Houston. So
I was hoping that the Tennessee Tuxedos would be a football team.
Man, you're in the cartoon kind of mood today.
Have a penguin as their mascot.
well, when the temple opens, you're all invited to be my guest.
Okay.
Diamond Dave,
Diamond Dave.
Hey, happy birthday.
do I need to put a list of all the apostles who were apostles in 2016 when you were baptized?
Gene, you're taking this a little too lightly. Did you hear us? It's Diamond Dave's birthday.
Yesterday was my birthday, dude.
Well,
I'm surprisingly sober. Like
for
right
us,
now.
it's still your birthday, Diamond
For us,
Dave.
it's your birthday today.
It's like on my 21st birthday. I spent my 21st birthday in London, New York, Chicago, and Colorado. Okay.
Yeah, match that.
So you can have a birthday still. Because it's
Go
still
to my
a
channel,
17.
give super thanks, give super chats in the comments there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I watched
Dave. I was doing lots of Ubering. Uber kept me
I
busy.
watched some of Diamond Dave yesterday. It was fun.
And I don't know how to use my phone good enough to search for things while I'm working. But
Oh,
anyhow,
it's fun.
so what's it like being older?
I'm surprisingly sober. That's what it's like being older. I'm surprisingly sober.
Okay, back to the show. Did you have a favorite apostle? Did you know who the heck apostles were when you got baptized?
In 2020, I don't know if I don't think so. Off the top of my head. Because I can't remember if Uchtdorf is an apostle or not.
Yes,
He's
he
an
is.
apostle.
Okay. Yeah, he was he was probably my favorite because he has a personality. And like being a fighter pilot, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the other ones I don't know, I thought were boring.
He's got a kind of a cool fighter pilot look to him too. He's a handsome guy.
He has the right stuff. Okay. He's got the right
There
stuff.
you go.
When I was in the church, like still at the church, what I wanted to do, and I'm still debating on doing this, is do an AI version of Danger Zone with him singing it. and like in the fighter, like flying around singing Danger Zone in the F-16.
Oh, you should. Oh, you need to do it. No, he put him in an F-104. He flew F-104s, and
Or put him
Oh,
in the
F-104.
microphone, or I mean,
yeah,
put him on the motorcycle.
and F-104s killed a lot of German pilots. Well, the
Going down
F-104
the
killed a lot
runway.
of pilots, but yeah,
No.
he either flew the 104 or the F4 Phantom. Either flew 104s or Phantoms.
I used to fly paper aircraft all the time when I
I
was
used to
a
make
kid.
the Sacramento
So
free rams.
did I.
Uh,
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Because and the Westwood Second Ward, it had a what is it called? A patio surround.
Like a courtyard.
Thank you, a courtyard, and we would fold them up after Sunday school and fly them between Sunday school opening exercises in class. We'd always make me and Jeff, me and Dennis and David would make and fly them, Teddy, and fly them around in the courtyard. Yeah.
That was big at our school, seeing who could make. It was between the school and the hospital. There was a hospital and a school, both pretty tall, and I don't know what kind of wind current it caused, but if you caught it just right, it would
Yeah.
just go up and up and just kind of
and
hover
up.
around.
Yeah. It gets
Those were the
vortices going.
days.
so, Chris, did you have anything to say about last week's show that you didn't get a chance to say?
Yeah, I think we were talking about temples, and the White Plains, New York temple was renamed the Harrisburg Temple, and then because the Manhattan Temple was built, they canceled the Harrisburg Temple.
Right.
But according to the
Right.
website that I've looked on, the
'Cause we were-
Dubai Temple and the Russia Temple are still going. It may take a while to get them built, but they're still on.
Jim wrote a list of temples that have been canceled, and you kind
Yeah.
of back against that.
Yeah, he said Russia and China are still on the list, and so
Yeah.
is probably Mongolia.
Yeah, that's all. The Harrisburg Temple, or the White Plains, was canceled.
That's
Oh.
canceled.
But yeah, the website I'm looking at, LDS Temples, still has those going. So that's all.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a temple in the United States that gets sort of reversed or canceled? It doesn't get built.
Things happen, things change. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Just like, the White Plains Temple, it's a great undertaking to do all these temples. And so as things change, it's
Yeah, like for
okay to
instance, I got married in the Oakland Temple,
okay.
and because it was serving Northern California, they built the Sacramento Temple, which I don't know if they've renamed where it actually is yet. But and then the Fresno Temple and Tim, how many California temples are there?
I have
Southern
no
California has
idea.
Redlands.
I just drove out to the Bakersfield Temple site yesterday. They still haven't done anything out there.
Okay, so that's
I don't
just
know.
announced. But they announced the San Jose Temple. And as far as I can tell, the Oakland Temple wasn't always full in sessions. And for our stake, San Leandro is still a stake. But to the south of us, the Hayward stake merged with the Fremont stake. To the east of us, the Pleasanton stake merged with the Livermore stake. To the north of us, the Concord stake merged with the Walnut Creek stake. And where I live right now, there were 6 wards in our stake, and there's only 2 left. And so the big thing was, lots of the kids all moved to Utah or Idaho or Arizona, right? Or somewhere else, and since it was baby boom time, that's why there was shrinkage. But
Hey, are there more temples in California than there are NFL football teams?
There's 8 temples in California right now.
so yes,
Oh, okay.
Wait.
The list I have has 12 outlined.
Those are under, well, Yorba Linda and Modesto is under construction, Bakersfield announced, and San Jose announced.
Yep.
But 8
10 are operating
operating.
right now.
8 are operating.
You're operating.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if San Jose got canceled, because also in the South Bay, I can't remember, 9 wards became 4.
Well, I mean,
and 1 stake.
most of them are empty most of the time. They're all empty except on
I
Saturday.
wouldn't say they're empty, but because I haven't been in, I can't see. I hear that they're not operating very well, and I know that you have to like make an appointment now.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to go down to the LA Temple during the week, sometimes I was the only one in the session, and they had to get a sister.
Way.
If I heard you were going to be in a session, I wouldn't go.
they had to get and they had to get one of the temple workers, a female, to act as the female, but they do it for me. Well, you got to realize I grew up with these people,
right?
Because Westwood second. I mean, we had temple workers in both work, and I go down there to see my friends, and and I was there one day.
In the late 90s?
Yeah. And I went down during the week one time to do. I didn't plan on doing a session. I figured, I'll just go and see what's going on. And I walk in, and my friend's at the desk, and his wife's there, and we start talking. You want to do a session? All right. How many of you had today? They didn't have. They had maybe 1 or 2 before that. I says, well, we got to find a sister for you so you can do it, but you get the whole room to yourself.
Yeah, and it goes faster.
It was funny.
So freaky. I don't think
it was very freaky. It was very freaky.
What year did you go through the temple?
I was just looking at this list again. The Sunnyvale Temple has been announced, and a site has been named. I guess that's.
Oh yeah, they changed San Jose into the Sunnyvale.
Is that what? I'm not sure.
I think that's what happened.
Because
the site was not in San Jose, maybe.
So.
Yeah.
So did you say, was there a date for them to break ground or something?
Sunnyvale, it says location announced. No groundbreaking date has been announced.
West Fremont Avenue. I think that's what it says.
Yeah, correct.
I know that our theme is apostles, our favorite general authorities. And I know that we've kind of strayed a little bit and we're talking about temples. So I have a question for everyone after we do the temple talk that might not be right on theme, but it's something that's really been on my mind.
Okay.
I've been waiting on you. Sometimes talking through what's occupying your thoughts, it helps work.
We can
I
do
don't
it.
know why
Really.
Alexa is answering me. Alexa,
Why
stop.
not join the show?
Alexa is just.
I didn't even say her name, and just every now and then she joins in my conversation.
So Chris, what temple did you take out your endowments?
Salt Lake.
Oh, okay.
Live
You did a
session?
live.
Oh, wow.
It was live back then, yes.
Yeah.
There's only one life left, and that's Manti.
Yeah,
What year
I
did
believe
you
you're
go out on
correct.
your mission, Chris?
Pardon?
What year did you go out on your mission?
1995.
Oh, well, you're just a puppy.
So, Russia had not been open for very long.
I was, I went to a live session in Salt Lake, and I was kind of taken back because I thought that it was going to be people dressed like, I thought there would be someone dressed like Adam and someone dressed like Eve with wearing some fig leaves and things, and the whole costume stuff. But no,
I remember somebody saying that you could get like an 89-year-old Eve.
yeah,
Yep.
Right.
Oh my god.
yeah,
Yes.
and she
But
didn't.
bless her heart if she's 89 and doing Eve in the temple.
Well, when I used to go to Idaho Falls, one of my relatives would be playing in it.
I think I don't know when the live session stopped, but we went.
Well, there's only
And-
one. The only one in the world right now is Manti. That's it. They stopped they stopped when they destroyed Salt Lake. When they destroyed the Salt Lake Temple to renew it, because Salt
Renovated.
Lake and Manti were the only two that were doing live.
Hey, welcome, Justin Masterson 4611. I agree with you about Paul H. Dunn. Justin is a very dear friend of mine. He is a brother of my late wife.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I'm glad he's joining us tonight.
Paul H. Dunn would get me fired up.
Well, he would get us all fired up. It's
Yeah.
just it's too bad he had to make stories up to fire us up.
I mean, it's like Hollywood makes stories up, and he lived in Southern California, so maybe it was.
He was in the Hollywood ward.
There you
Of
go. It's hard to
course.
tell reality from fiction when you're in Southern California.
That's
Was
right.
he really in Hollywood Ward?
Yes. Yes.
Did
He
they
was
have
in my stake when I was growing up. He was in my stake.
did
I
they
didn't
have
know who he
white
was.
letters up on the chapel on the
Did-
roof? On the
Did they
crisscross
what?
Hollywood Ward
No.
over by Griffith Observatory?
Did they play
No.
the Roman battle march at the start of every meeting?
Oh my god.
No. It was a rather new chapel. It was.
So, Chris, do you know about the Masonic link to the temple ceremonies?
I'm familiar with the subject.
And I don't know what the Mormon atheist wants your opinion about necessarily, but
Well, I'll give you the standard answer. I mean, I believe that what's done in the temple is sacred. It's not secret, it's sacred. We invite everybody to come and prepare and come to the temple. So, all are welcome to come to the temple.
and I know that there's been a lot of changes in the last 10 or 12 years.
They took out the oath. They took out the penalties from
It's
the
changed through
temple
the
in
years.
1990. Well, now it's just a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh yeah, how do you feel about the PowerPoint presentation compared to the movies?
I love the whole spirit of the temple. Going there and understanding and learning more about Jesus Christ. The real learning comes from personal preparation and revelation. And so, regardless of the medium, I think it's a beautiful way to spend time and feel closer to the Savior.
Such an apologetic answer. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that's a good answer.
I want to hear a reality. I want to hear real. I don't want to hear pablum from Salt Lake that you've memorized. How do you personally feel about it?
Do we need to rewind the video? I think it's a beautiful way to go and feel closer to our Savior, Jesus Christ.
By doing Masonic things.
Well,
I don't agree with your premise there. Again,
Joseph Smith's father was a Mason. His brother was a Mason. He was initiated into the Masonic order in March of 1842. The endowment was created in May of 1842.
Here's
But-
what I don't get.
The
Like,
grips
okay.
are taken
Here's
straight
what I
from
don't-
Masonry.
here's
Okay,
what I
well,
don't get, because this is my thing. Like, so when I was in the church, I didn't have a problem with Masonry, but everybody shies away from it. If the Church of Jesus Christ is true, who gives a shit if Masonry is there? Because Masonry is a part of the church, which is true. So why is there an aversion to Masonry?
because he stole it from the Masons.
He didn't give him like $1 or anything.
He went through the first three degrees of masonry, entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason. He learned all the grips, he learned all the signs and tokens, and he incorporated them into his story.
But I
You don't
have to
think he
say,
knew
this,
about everything before that day?
He knew about it from the anti-Masonic party, what was going on in New York in the 1820s. Well, look at his father was a Mason, his brother was a
Jim,
Mason.
he had to learn everything line upon line. I remember hearing that.
Yeah, well, okay, he did line up on line.
Randy wanted to say something.
Okay.
Yeah. We asked Chris what he thought,
Yeah.
and
I
he gave
know.
us a very sincere answer.
Well, but this
There's
answer is
really-
the same thing that you'd read from something from Salt Lake. It's the
That's right,
typical
Timmy. Your answer is the
Catholic
same as
answer.
any ex-Mormon, anti-Mormon would say.
No, my answer is because
Thank
I've
you.
researched the subject. I've researched the subject and I know it backwards and forwards.
when
And I
was-
know where
when I was-
I have a friend of mine wrote a document documenting where everything came from and the
So-
endowment.
So, Gene, I will address. So, searching for light and truth and understanding and, gaining more knowledge, I think those are universal things. So, wherever the Masons got it from, or wherever, the search for light and truth and knowledge, I think that's a shared experience throughout the generations and throughout the years. So, if
Sure.
someone has an aversion to the Masons, I think it's been well documented. And, I would welcome anybody else to have any other beliefs or things that they want to, and whatever they want to call it, masonry or whatever else. In the Church of Jesus Christ, we have temples, and I find great joy in serving in the temple. So I know that's not going to help Tim there. But
Hey,
for
I
someone that's
enjoyed the
actively
temple also.
participating, I find great peace and joy in it.
I
You know,
enjoyed it also.
we all did once upon
Excellent.
a time.
Yeah,
Um,
I enjoyed
I'm the
temple.
exception. I'm the exception to that because I left
Well,
before I went through the temple.
Right.
He's still a temple
and-
virgin.
Well, I've seen it online and I thought it was just boring as shit, honestly. So I've seen it online, thought it was boring. And then I found out that the oaths and the penalties were taken out with the hand gestures, and I was like kind of disappointed because I thought that was like the one cool thing that it had
They
going
should have a
for
line
it.
for people that still want to do those things. Then Dave could go through the line and do all the penalties and stuff.
All right, like Blood Oath would be a great metal band name. Like, why take it out, dude? Like,
hey,
so
Diamond,
dumb.
do you watch Kiki and Megan Connor, their show? Because
Sometimes.
their snarky channel, Mormons, Exmo Snark.
Mhm.
You should watch their temple series or show. It's very, very informative for anyone who hasn't been through the temple. And it's if I hadn't been through the temple, I would want to watch that.
I saw it through Jordan and McKay, which is now True Virtue, but they did like a whole 3-part series on it. And they just like it's a live video that they show you and then they break away and then they comment on it and explain what's going on and then they go back to it and it goes from like start to finish. So that's how I saw it.
The history of the endowment, or just
It's like the endowments, the initiatories, like the whole veil. That's like everything.
Yeah.
like when they
Health in
went
the
through.
navel, marrow in the bones, strength and limbs in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity throughout generations of time and throughout all eternity.
And the Mormon atheists will tell you that the Masonic can't remember what he would say about it, but it goes back in time, really old.
Yes.
But anyhow, so Chris, have you ever seen the video? What's it called? Where everybody's like bearing their testimony. It starts out with a Mormon bearing their testimony, and then a Catholic bears their testimony. Spiritual. It's called spiritual.
No, I don't think I'm familiar with that.
My brain's frying. Can somebody remember in the chat? Spiritual witnesses. I think that's what
Yeah,
it's.
spiritual.
So it
You're
just
right.
shows a group of maybe a dozen people in different faiths, sort of bearing their testimonies, and they're in a way they're indistinguishable. And so, it made me think, because I always thought, the Mormon testimonies were right because the church was the only true church on earth. And then I saw other people having similar experiences, and it made me just think that, lots of people have spiritual experiences in different forms in all types of religions for forever almost, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
I
that's
have
the great thing about the restored gospel is we have room for truth in anywhere and everywhere can be found. There's wonderful people in all religions, all groups, all sects, everywhere, all nations. And that's the great thing I think the restored gospel gives us is a view and a vision of all that. So there'll be many wonderful Catholics, Protestants, everybody coming to Jesus Christ. So we don't have the corner market. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can find truth everywhere. So now I
So,
do believe in the true gospel of Jesus Christ and the Church of
which
Jesus
is
Christ of
what?
Latter-day Saints, but there's wonderful people and wonderful, faithful people all over the world.
Tim actually has a good question. What is the gospel of Jesus Christ?
What is the gospel of Jesus Christ?
Yeah, to you.
Well, it's that Jesus Christ came.
meaning the time of Jesus Christ, right?
Now, there's no, that there's no historical evidence or archaeological evidence for
Well,
the
let's
existence.
let him answer first.
Okay.
Well, I think it's clearly stated in Second Corinthians. The gospel of Jesus Christ is that Christ came and died for our sins and rose from the grave, took upon our sins that we could return to the Father. It's also outlined in the Book of Mormon, very similar. What is the gospel of Jesus Christ? In fact, Christ himself, when he appears to the Nephites in 3rd Nephi, he instructs them specifically, this is my gospel. So that's the gospel of Jesus Christ.
So he says, this is my gospel. And then what does he say?
Let me have to pull it up here. It says that I came to do the will of the Father, to be lifted up on the cross. And then it's also in 2 Corinthians, also very similar language. Do the will of the Father, to bring all men unto him, so we can be redeemed of our sins. That's the gospel of Jesus Christ. Does that answer your question? Is that a good answer?
Yeah. So where does love fit in?
Love. What do you mean?
Well, so you could have a gospel of love or a gospel of obedience.
I don't think it's one or the other.
So you think it could be both? Because I sort of feel like the people that are the gospel of obedience people are kind of like the Pharisees and Sadducees, if you could lump them all together. But Tim will remember when he was a kid talking to Pharisees and Sadducees, and he would say they're totally different, but we all lump them together. And then we say Christians are ones that are the gospel of love. So if somebody's a good Christian, they would have love in their hearts for their fellow man.
Yeah.
And if they're a Pharisee, then they want their fellow man or woman to just wear one earring and only, have your dress code a certain length of sleeves. And there's lots of, the Jews, missed the mark, Jesus would say, because they kind of were too exacting. Like if somebody walks 79 steps on Sabbath, he's okay. But if you walked 81 steps, you have to stone him. Although I've never seen evidence of that happening.
You've never been stoned?
No, not after walking 81 steps, for sure.
It's perfectly legal here in Washington. Just saying.
But, is there any man stoned in the Old Testament? or the New Testament? It's only like women.
That's right.
Stephen was stoned.
Okay,
Okay,
right.
that's one.
But not that's just like an afterthought, right? Or somebody just reported it. There wasn't like a big story about it.
So sorry, was there a question there?
It was just
No.
hanging.
You know what? I've got a question that's been eating at me, and it's not for Chris necessarily. It's for everybody and for the panel. Because if any of you follow me on Facebook, you know I've been ravaged by very defensive members of the church. When I make posts, I do not, I don't criticize the church. I point out the fact. That's it. I don't make stuff up. And one of my last videos that I posted 2 days ago was about the wealth of the LDS Church. And it doesn't matter where it comes from or how they get it. That's not what my question is. I know that. My question is, what is the church saving the money for? Because by 2040, they expect to be at $1 trillion. So what is the end game for that money? Tim, do you have any idea?
The church is going to be so rich it's going to strangle itself and die. It'll reach a point where it has so much money, it's not going to be able to spend enough money to keep its tax exempt status, to keep all the perks it has from the government. It's going to be unable to do anything. It'll reach a point where it's basically reaches stagnation, and it's going to collapse and die. Right now, it's taking all the wealth and just hoarding it. You know, when they fire the janitors and they make the members go clean the buildings, they're just hoarding that wealth that they used to pay the janitors to do.
I guess what my question is, what is it that they are saving up for? Let's say that they took away a few hundred of their billions and made sure that kids all around the world had food to eat.
Well, they need to protect the children from the predators.
Well,
I mean, why is it so important to protect the image of the church and protect the predators that preyed on my child in a ward? And when I went to the police, I was shunned because I did that, because I did not go to my priesthood leader. Now, they should spend their money protecting children, not predators. Okay?
Well,
that's one of the first things they should do is stop protecting the predators.
Well, to
stop
Randy's
saying to
point,
the sister, stop thinking about, oh, if we excommunicate this guy or they get divorced, how's the family going to survive?
Well, let's see. Let's ask Chris. Chris, are you familiar with the reports of sort of people who are pedophiles or whatever, who are sexual assault, SA, are being protected by the church, sort of? Are you aware of any of that?
Not sort of.
So
they are.
Well, okay. I want to jump back to my question first.
Yeah, I wanted to address Randy's point of like what
say about that, because I really am curious.
So first of all, it wouldn't even happen because the church can't just go and give people money in foreign countries. It has to go through the government, and many governments globally would just take the money for themselves. We can see that with African nations during COVID, where America and the United Nations gave them medicine and they gave them a bunch of money.
Dave, couldn't Jesus protect that money? And
Jesus is a punk bitch that can't do anything. He couldn't even save his own people from the Germans in the 40s. He couldn't save the Mormons in Michigan from being shot up. Jesus can't do anything. He's incompetent and he's useless.
Impotent.
He's not worth my time, to put it bluntly.
Okay, well, Chris, do you have a response to Randy's question about all the wealth that the Mormon Church has now?
I just want to know the end game. I don't know what they're saving up for.
Yeah, I don't know
Chris
either
knows.
what they're
Chris
saving up
knows,
for.
Randy.
I saved my whole life to go on a mission, and then I went on a mission. That's what I was saving for. What is the church stockpiling this unbelievable amount of money for that they're not using to feed his sheep? And by the way, Chris, I was LDS for 55 years of my life and held about every calling you can think of. But I never knew this answer.
Yeah, well, all the experiences I'm hearing from you guys, my heart goes out to each one of you for, the experiences, and Tim for the experiences. My heart goes out to you. To answer your
That
question,
doesn't do anything.
Well,
Pardon?
But he listened and he heard.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You know
He
those
can't
big
excommunicate
dogs that
anybody
people walk
either.
Mike.
with when they're walking like a pit bull, and it goes after every other dog it sees to go and eat them up. That's Tim up there. He's our pit bull.
Yeah.
To that I am.
Pull the leash back from time to time.
So, Chris, you're aware of how much money the church has in cash
Yeah.
and stocks and bonds?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I know the church, the report that just came out, how much the church gave to charities and worldwide hunger and relief. It was a record last year. To answer your question
1.8
directly, I
billion.
don't know. I don't know.
It did come out in the Deseret News. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But you'd be very interested to go to a site called thewidowsmite.org, because that gives a non-biased breakdown of where the church spends money.
Mhm.
And it's always been my feeling, and someone commented on my Facebook the other day, that if we're all expected to give 10% of our income, why wouldn't we expect the church to give at least 10% to charity, to feeding his sheep?
Yeah.
Right now we're working on just below, it's 1.8% or something like that, which is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Why do you think they excommunicated me for telling the truth about the church?
Because you told the truth.
One
about
question
it.
at a time, Tim.
All right.
I mean, this is my personal opinion. I actually watched some of you guys' older videos and just thumbed through a couple things, and I see a lot of, how do I call it? Satan's the accuser, accusing God of different things, and I think this, there's a little bit of that also. Always commenting on how someone else should do something or how the church should do something. I don't know why the church has all that money. I gladly pay tithing because I believe it's a wonderful doctrine. We can say we're faithful and we do things, but tithing is really, where we can actually show that we're faithful to our Heavenly Father. And just like the parable of the widow's mite in the Bible, I think someday we're going to be asked to give everything. And this is just my personal opinion. And so, 10% is a lot less than everything. And someday we're going to have to show exactly how much we're willing to, consecrate and sacrifice to the kingdom of God. And so,
Well, you've already consecrated to give your life to the corporation in the temple.
What I'm wanting to know is, as an active member right now, because like I said, I was in the church forever.
mhm.
But where do you believe your tithing dollars go?
This is just me again. I could care less if they took it out behind and burned it. Personally, the church does what it does, amazing things. I've been in leadership callings and I've seen where money goes and it helps the poor and the needy, and it food and education, and and if there's always people that are going to say that the church needs to do more differently, we can always tell someone else what they need to do. We can always be accusing and tell other people what they need to do with their money. The church does with the money. I'm I'm completely okay with, building of temples and everything, because, the kingdom of God will go forth independently, and that's the Lord's law of finance, and that's what it is. So I hope it's $1 trillion someday.
Well,
So, Chris,
it's
let me
not-
say something, Randy. About 15 years ago, Dallin Oaks gave some sort of talk, and he was talking about how awesome the church was because over the last 10 years, they had donated $200 million. And somebody did the math and figured out that was like $1.50 per member for each of those 10 years. And it paled in comparison to what, even just regular people do when they give to Goodwill or other things. And so the average was like $20 million a year. And people commented on it and complained and said the church should do better. And now they're doing 1.8 billion. So if nobody knew anything about it, maybe it would still be $20 million a year.
And maybe it wouldn't.
Maybe it'd be, yeah. I mean, we don't live in these dual universes, right? We can't compare these things. But all we can do is say that, have you heard of a guy named Bishop Sam Young?
I'm not familiar.
So in your area, I believe it was in Houston, he was bishop, and he complained about the church having young boys and girls talk to a bishop all by them, locked in a room, not locked in a room, but in a closed room.
Yeah, locked in. That's right. Door was
and
closed.
it wasn't a safe thing to do.
So
And
are we moving off the finance thing, or are we moving to something else? Because you guys keep moving
I'm
pretty
not sure
quickly.
where it came from, but I know what you're going to ask him.
So he
Well,
got.
are we done with the wait? Are we done with the finance thing, Gene?
Yeah,
Are we
we're
done
kind
with
of
the fin-
jumping around a
Well,
lot.
we're done with it because Chris says we're doing exactly what God wants, right?
Okay.
Chris?
Do you have any more to say about it, Chris?
I just, I'm not worried about the Lord's money. The Lord, knows what He's doing, and He's overall. So
Are you worried about the Lord's children, like Tim's problem with his children? And now I'm being a little bit more like Tim right now because Sam Young protested that the church was being bad, we'll say. He got excommunicated, and now they've changed the rules. And now my understanding in the handbook, a parent is required to be in on all of the interviews. Is that a good thing? Is that what God wants, or was it because of, or maybe God wanted Bishop Sam Young to protest? I don't know. But
well,
he got
again, I can't answer that question as you've asked it, but of course, my heart goes out to everybody and anybody. It's a pernicious evil that's sweeping our society. What does the old saying go? We scoff at honor and then wonder why there's traitors in our midst. So here you go. We scoff at things like chastity and fidelity and wholesomeness and goodness, and then we wonder why these kind of things sweep our society. So my heart goes out to anybody. There's bad people anywhere and everywhere you'll go, and we need to do all that we can to protect our children.
Then why doesn't the church protect its children over its image?
I don't agree with your assumption. I don't agree with your
You don't
premise
agree
there.
with my assumption. My son was molested by a member of the ward.
Okay,
I went to the police. I went to the police rather than the church. Because I didn't go to my bishop, I was shunned. The church
I'm truly
normally wants to handle it within the church so that they protect the predator and they don't do anything about the children. They don't care about the children. They don't tend to counseling or anything.
Somebody uses one example as evidence for a whole big thing. What do you call that?
Correlation is not causation.
Or when one example, what's one example called?
An anecdote.
Anecdotal. It's anecdotal, right?
Okay, there's so much evidence out there.
Yes.
Go to floodlit.org and look at all of the cases of molestation that members of the church have committed on children. Look at what happened with the Boy Scouts and all the Boy Scouts that were molested who were members of the church.
So I'm active in the Boy Scouts, and again, there's bad people everywhere. And
you're not answering the question though. You're avoiding the answer.
Avoiding what answer?
The
It's
Boy
not
Scouts were
saying, Tim.
sued.
Chris's
Well, the
fault.
Boy Scouts were sued because of SA. You know that, right?
Yes.
And most of those were Mormon boys. It was about a third to a half Mormon, and the rest were Protestant and Catholic. They were molested by the Scout leaders. That's an epidemic problem.
And so there's
we know
what was
that,
the name of
Tim.
that podcast, Randy? That the architecture of abuse. So there's
Right.
a podcast that's called The Architecture of Abuse. And one of the people interviewed on it, it's like a documentary, is a lawyer who has been represented abused people against the
Tim
church,
Kossoff.
Tim Kosnoff. And he talks about how the church would systematically do things that it just seems like any corporation would do, not
Other churches
Christian
perform
church.
background checks on members who work with children. Why doesn't the LDS Church perform background checks
So
on people who work with children?
it's hard to ask why to
No.
Chris, because he's not a Chris, you're not an apostle, right?
I'm here on my own accord to build some bridges, so I
Yeah.
can't speak for official.
Chris is not
So Chris doesn't know why the church does anything.
Then
Yeah.
why is he here?
because he's building.
He's here to build bridges.
Yeah,
We-
Tim, I had the courage to come on, and I have
I
other things I can do, and
understand.
I hear you, and I'm so sorry for your experience, and me
Sorry
personally,
doesn't mean anything to me.
okay.
It's meaningless.
I've had experiences that are unpleasant everywhere else, but what I'm really trying to do is find my path to Jesus Christ. And
Okay, somebody
I know
who
that's
didn't
not a good
exist.
answer for
Somebody,
you or
somebody who
anything.
never existed. You know that, right?
I'm
That's
sorry,
just-
Chris. Tim.
No.
There is no need to try to
Well-
debate. This is we're just getting opinions from Chris, and you
Yeah,
and
but
I-
there's nothing new here that we haven't heard before.
Mhm.
This is the same apologetic pablum answers that every member of the church gives.
You know,
Not one original thought, not one original thing that isn't corporate.
I was just gonna kind of say I'm leaning more towards Tim's position because I mean, on the one hand, it's good to build bridges, but on the other hand, I could have probably guessed every single answer that he was gonna
Yeah.
say. So, like, maybe not in the
Okay.
same verbiage,
So
but
Tim-
like, I don't see a point.
The Mormon atheist has a question. If there's
Yes.
one thing Chris would change about the church, what would it be? Because Chris, do you believe that the church is run by flawed people?
All people are flawed. Every single
Right.
person is flawed. There's no perfect people.
So can you name a flaw in any of the 12 apostles or 15 apostles that currently exist?
They have to put their pants on one leg at a time.
Is that a flaw?
If you're looking for specific flaws, I haven't read their biographies. I'm sure there's, they're human just like you and me. So they're human. They're fallible just like
Right. And so,
everybody else.
so is the church being run right now exactly the way God wants, or is it changing according to how the apostles are seeing needs change or things that need to be changed?
Yeah, it's a living, breathing church, and so things change, and I'm grateful for that.
Let's suppose you can transport back into 1975, and somebody said, "What one thing would you change about the church?" Do you know what the one thing might be?
That was I was very young back then, so I'm not sure, but I'm sure you guys have an answer for me, or I'd love to hear your answers.
Well, people would say
but
that black should have the priesthood,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And there were protests about the church, that where it's going on. Most of the protests that I ever experienced were in like the late 60s and early 70s. And then the revelation on the priesthood didn't come until 1978. And somebody said, well, there needed to be less pressure on the church for the blacks to receive the priesthood. And I thought to myself, why is that? Why would God care about that? if people are pressuring the church to do something right, why wouldn't just doing it as soon as possible be the right thing to do? Why would you have to wait for a protest to slow down?
Well, see, the moment that you pin me in and say everything I say is from corporate, then I really have nothing more to say. So my answer to that is, there were revelations and God in his own time, talking about those experiences and what was behind it, the revelation to change that. God's not pressured by political pressure. God in his own time reveals things and unveils things in his own time. But if you guys think that's corporate dribble, then, I can't help you there. But, there's
it seems indistinguishable from just what a corporation would do, right? Protect themselves for as long as they can, and then make the change when they need to make the change from the corporate point of view. That's just what. So in other words, like right now, for me, I think that women should be ordained.
Okay. So
that would be a change that I would make.
So can we go to your church where women are ordained?
So you were suggesting anybody that wanted blacks to have the priesthood in 1975 just to go to a different church?
And I didn't say that. I'm just saying that, I believe in living prophets and apostles. So, if my point of view from a point of faith is different than your guys' point of view, then that's fine. But I did have the courage to come on here and just chat and understand and try to make some friends. But if my welcome's worn out, that's fine. And it's been good hanging out with you guys.
No, I don't want you to leave quite yet. You asked why what I believe or what I wish would be changed. This is one quote of several that I have. This one happens to be by George Q. Cannon, but I just made a video, a pretty lengthy video about the prejudice against the blacks. This one, as you can see, George Q. Cannon says, their skin is black, their hair woolly and black, their intelligence stunted, and they appear never to have risen from the most savage state of barbarism. And who's he talking about? He's talking about the blacks. That does not sound like a prophet of God to me. So that's one of the things I would have liked to have seen changed.
Okay.
And you mean by change, you mean apologize for those things, Randy?
Well, now I think there should be an apology, but President Oaks has told us that ain't going to happen because the church does not apologize and isn't about to start apologizing.
Well, what do you think, Chris? Would you like to be a member of a church that apologized for things in their past that were prejudiced or something?
Well, again, quote mining from one, person that lived a while ago, this is a common tactic, and
wait, I have tons of them. I can pull these up all night. By the way.
I know. I'm sure you can if that's the effort you put in.
I've got an answer for Randy, and that is, I'm going to be honest. I don't care if the church changes. I'm not a member of it. They're a fringe minority. They're an enemy of the state. So what they do inside their little temples and whatever really does not bother me, because as someone who left, I no longer am bound by their religious traditions. So, I mean, if they want to keep going on the same course, they can. If they crash and burn, they can. It doesn't matter to me.
Diamond Dave, if I could, the language that you're using is pretty harsh language.
It's harsh. I'm being very, very tame right now. Ask Randy. I get on his face. Look at how I treat people who attack him on his Facebook. I am being extremely tame. And
you do have one person here that's reaching out, and so that kind of language is unfortunately what that kind of language led to people in Michigan to crash their truck into a church.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
So I would just ask that we maybe
And
That's
a
not
little
true
bit.
at all, and you know it.
Chris, you want to
Well,
know something? Tim didn't want Dave on the show a year and a half ago because he thought Dave was too Jesus-y or too Mormon for the show.
What? I did?
He thought Dave was going to be a spy for Ward Radio because
Everyone,
Ward Radio
thought,
was so afraid of Latter Daily Digest and Tuesdays with Tim.
yeah.
Well, I
He
can't
was
wait till
afraid.
Ward Radio sees this.
They probably, I mean, they've seen what I've said in their Discord before I left. They know.
Have they ever
But
said?
Dave, Diamond Dave, if we extend our hand, our hand in friendship, can we at least start there? Because, I think there's room for people to be friends. And
Do you want an honest answer or a polite
Please.
answer?
please,
An honest answer? It's more of a question. Why would I be friends with my enemy?
who is your enemy?
Anyone who claims to be Christian.
Well, all of Christianity. You have 2 billion enemies, Dave.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, my beliefs are antithetical to theirs. They want to convert me. They want to take over the world. I
that's
simply want to live in peace and do my own thing.
But that's the great thing is Americans, we can all believe differently, yet
I'm not in America.
I didn't say you weren't in America. I said that we're as Americans.
That's not true.
We can't all get along.
Nope.
Look at the way the country is right now and what they want. Christian nationalism.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the politics, like people don't
With
get
the way
along.
the politics are right now.
And if you set aside that, people naturally gravitate toward people they align with and that they agree with. That's just the way human beings are, right? And people generally don't interact with others who they disagree with. I used to do that, and I found it to be
Gene, will
very
you please put the link in the chat, Gene?
What am I putting?
StreamYard link, please.
Oh, again.
People are asking to come on. Okay, I'm sorry, David.
They
Go
can
ahead.
scroll up.
Oh yeah, it's like, so I mean, I've done the whole try to be friends with everyone thing, and it burned me out. And I've talked a bit about that because before I moved here, I was kind of fried anyway, but like navigating between like Ward Radio, Jacob Hansen, as well as people Nexmo side, as well as people that I, just naturally hung out with. It became tiring to juggle all of that. And I find that just associating with people who basically share my core values to some extent, right? Like, sure, we don't have to agree on every single thing. Of course not. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I found that aligning myself with people who share my core values is uplifting. And Christianity has nothing that my core values have.
Chris, you ever listen to Steve Pinecker?
I'm not familiar with him, no.
He does Mormon book reviews. He's trying to do interfaith stuff. There's something called Utah Interfaith Council or something like that where they're trying to get interfaith things going. And those are some good places, good common grounds.
Yeah.
Alex is in the chat. What up, buddy?
So, Chris, here's something. Sometimes somebody who's a believer might come into the comment section or whatever of something that Randy or I is doing, and they would say, why are you guys trying to destroy people's faith, right? And Tim will say, by just saying real history, right? Or just talking about science, or just talking
That's
about...
why they kicked me out, remember,
events.
Gene? That's why they kicked me out. That's why they kicked me out of a chapel and told me I was never welcome to come back because I told the truth about the church.
Yeah.
Bishop got off the stand with somebody else and removed me from the chapel.
I said, isn't that what missionaries do? For a missionary to be successful, they have to destroy a person's current faith and have them change to being a Mormon, a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And why would I want to go back to a place that doesn't want me anymore?
Do you know what I mean? People, because a missionary has to convert somebody from one faith to another, and don't you have to, in a way, have them lose their faith in whatever they believe in order to start believing in Mormonism?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a lot about faith and what faith is, and God will take us as far as we want to go, as far as we allow Him to go, and preaching
That's your
Jesus
belief.
Christ. And sorry.
That's your belief. That's not
Okay.
reality.
Yep.
That is your belief.
Yep.
And that's 2 billion people in a way believe really close to Chris, which means 6+ billion people on Earth don't believe what Chris says, right? And so
And never
that
will.
doesn't mean that the 2 billion is wrong because the 6 billion believe something else necessarily, but it is sort of telling. But you know what, Chris, I tell people that are good members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that if you were born in India, you'd probably be a great Hindu. If you were born in Thailand, you'd probably be a great Buddhist. Because most people do you have pioneer ancestry at all? Or
I do. Yes.
Yeah. And so I have half of my family's convert and half the family is pioneer ancestry. I'm 4th cousin, 4 times removed to Joseph Smith as a humble brag. but
Nice.
but anyhow, welcome to the show. We talked about favorite apostles for as long as we could. That was about 25 minutes.
For 30 seconds, and then it just went off the
25
rails.
minutes.
I have a comment that I'd love to make. When I was on my mission, and those of you who can hear me will understand what I'm saying. But when I was on my mission, I was about 3/4 of the way through, and we came face to face with a couple of Jehovah's Witness missionaries. The Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons got to Spain at the same time because Franco died and allowed freedom of religion. And they wanted to Bible bash a little bit, but nothing too serious. And so I bore my testimony to this. It was 2 sister Jehovah Witnesses, and I bore my testimony to them. And I felt like I was doing it with the Spirit. And you know what? She bore her testimony to me, and it moved me, and it made me feel like she honestly, with all her heart, believed that she was a member of the true Church of Jesus Christ. And so that made me start thinking on my mission, whose testimony is right? Whose testimony is right?
While I was laboring under the extreme difficulties caused by the contest of these parties of religionists, I was one day reading the Epistle of James, 1st chapter and 5th verse, which reads, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him."
The best way of finding truth is simply go to the origin of all truth and ask.
Please, who do I have to follow?
Scientology.
The Catholic Church.
To the prophet Joseph Smith.
The Seventh-day Adventists.
Bang.
I started to have a very strong feeling of missing something and seeking something. And at the same time, noticing that he sees the world in a different way. It really had such a profound impact on me that I started to do a lot of reading, and very quickly reading about Judaism, the pieces started to fall together where I just felt like I had found my way home. I have a very short answer to people who ask me, why on earth would you want to convert, to Orthodox Judaism? And I say, because God told me to.
Having converted not once, but twice, first to Reform and then to Orthodox Judaism, Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz is something of an expert on conversions.
Both of my conversions were incredibly intense and transformative. And in my experience as a rabbi, this is the norm.
And a friend of mine who was praying for me at that moment said he sensed Mother Mary came to me, took pity on me, and asked her son to save me. And I knew after that the cancer was gone, that I should sin no more. And shortly after that, I knew I was called to join the Catholic Church, a church I'd never stepped foot in.
So we were doing that meditation, myself and 5 other friends, and all of a sudden I felt this explosion of energy go up my spine from behind. It was just like, bang. Then I turned around and I saw this picture. And I said, "Who is that?" She goes, "Oh, that's Papa Jim. He's the most loving man I've ever met in my life." And so I knew that I had to find Jim Jones at People's Temple.
And finally, at one point, I surrendered. I said, "Okay, God, I want you. I want truth more than I want this book." And once I made that choice, I made that surrender, all the turmoil, all the struggle, everything lifted. I had no idea of the cross. I really had no idea what Jesus Christ had done for me. No idea of the plan of salvation. All I knew is I came face to face with God, and he told me this is what I had to do. And once I made the choice, I didn't have a qualm. I didn't have a doubt.
I surprised myself. I realized at such a young age, I was able to put together and realize that there was something more out there, that this website or this book or this topic, there's more to it. And I remember there was like a voice in my head, and I realized it was probably just the God and the goddess or the universe trying to tell me, keep going, you're almost there, you got it. You hit the mark, you need to just keep digging,
about it, and it's just been such a spiritual journey for me. I love it. I love every single bit of information I read about it. There's not one thing that I've read that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that, or that's not how I feel about it. I love everything about Wicca and about witchcraft, and I really, really feel like this is my path, my calling in life.
When I went to a Kingdom Hall, I could feel the love and sincerity and warmth of everyone in there right away, and it put me at ease. Jehovah's done so much for me personally. I want to help as many people benefit from that same relationship with our God.
Every day I studied, it was like drinking from the cup of knowledge, and I just became more powerful as a spiritual being.
I just have amazing knowledge and a viewpoint that is 360 degrees, and it just stretches from here to eternity.
Living room and just crying.
I've been searching for a witness of this work and of this church, and just tonight, I got my witness. And it's burning within my soul of how important this work is and how true it is. I know it is. And it's hard to believe that just a year ago I was in high school, and now I'm in a plural marriage and struggling. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the Lord's work, that I have finally found it. I say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I'm disappointed there wasn't any Hinduism or Shintoism or, Buddhism.
There might have been. I kind of cut a little bit out. So go check it out. I have the link in the chat.
But which one of those testimonies is right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm still waiting for you guys to find Vishnu. Just saying,
Which one is true?
There's a
the one that is true is clearly the one I follow.
Okay. I'm happy you're happy with that, David.
No,
Zeus
I know. I'm just
Zeus
teasing.
is the father of all these things, so I think Zeus is the truth.
Yeah, but we predate Zeus.
Do you?
That's right. They do.
Darn it.
Predate Zeus.
Most people that have a testimony of a particular religion or church were born into that religion or church, or are parroting their parents and what their parents have taught them. That's just a
and everything's their right, or else they wouldn't do what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting too is if you look at near-death experiences, and that's something that I've actively studied, is if people have near-death experiences, for instance, in India, right, they don't see Jesus, right? It's very Hindu in nature. In America, because it's just a Hindu culture, but in America, because it's a predominantly Christian environment, it's predominantly Christian. In the Middle East, I've been watching some YouTube videos of people just, they're seeing Jannah, they're seeing Islamic heaven, and they see the Prophet Muhammad, and so.
What were you going to say, Chris?
I was just saying, you talk about, with their parenting with their parents, as children and growing up and learning. I think it's okay to rely on your parents' faith, and that's okay. But eventually you have to be converted yourself. And I leaned on my parents' testimonies for a long time, and until I went and out of the world into Russia and on a mission and tested it for myself and talking with a lot of people and learning it for myself. And so, yeah, I agree with you. But then eventually, to be converted, you have to do that on your own. You can't share that with anybody, and that's why I stay.
Yeah. And every organization that's religious or otherwise can benefit people, right? And we are in favor of the benefits. It's just that
Well, considering the fact that the Christians wiped out the Native Americans,
so they have a
and the
couple of
Incas.
flaws, Tim. Are you going to destroy a whole belief system just because a few Native Americans die?
And thousands of Muslims and crusades,
You know, when I was a deacon, I started learning about the Aaronic priesthood. And I was taught that when a worthy man has and holds the priesthood, that's the power to act in God's name. Excuse me. That's the power to act in God's name. And that's always, the oath and covenant of the priesthood. That's always been what the church has taught me. So I'm thinking if me as a young deacon has that power, and then when I got into the elders quorum and became an elder, I had that power. Then a high priest, back when they had high priests. I always had this power to act in God's name. If I had that power, what must the apostles and the prophet have? So here's my question. Christ could go to Lazarus and raise him from the dead. He could go to the blind man at the pond and rub eyes and mud in his eyes and heal his blindness. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has a living prophet at its head who communes with God. Stop me when I say anything that's untrue. So why doesn't the prophet, and let's just say his two counselors, why don't they have outings every week to go to the children's hospitals and cure them of their cancer and their ailments? Does it not work like that like it used to? Is that because the prophets used to perform miracles and prophesy? But I don't see that happening. And I'm still a member, by the way, everybody. I'm still a member. I am not active in the church and I never will be. But I I have these questions, and they're just questions that make 100% sense. Why don't they go and heal the children in the hospitals? Let them raise them to their feet and let them go home. But we don't see that. By their fruits ye shall know them. Where are the fruits and where are the prophecies? What have they prophesied lately? And don't tell me anybody. I'm not talking to you, Chris, directly to you. I'm talking to the group. Why haven't any of the modern day prophets from Joseph Smith on given us prophecies on the earth that benefit mankind? Sure, we have councils, and we have statements by the church, but did anybody see COVID coming? Did anybody see 9/11 happening? Wouldn't it make sense that if something huge like that is going to come down, who would know first? The man who communes with Jehovah, prays to him, right? Who would know? It would be the prophet of the earth, the earthly prophet of God. But I don't see those healings. I don't see the prophecies. I don't even see the warnings. So how can the LDS Church, to which I am a member, of which I am a member, how can they claim that there's a living, walking, breathing prophet of God on the earth who can't see around corners like the prophets used to be able to do.
And so, Randy, you're basically saying because you don't see that happening, you can't go to church anymore.
I'm saying that by their fruits ye shall know them, and the fruit that I thought was part of the gospel doesn't exist.
And Randy, do you think that the people who say, I see good things that the church is doing, and I don't want to see the bad things, do you think that they're sort of convincing themselves to stay?
Well, of course, there are a lot of wonderful members of the church. The LDS people in general are good people. But then let's talk about the leaders of the church who are paid very well to be in the positions they're in. And, you know, I was taught on my mission, there's no paid clergy. And that's what we were told to go out and tell people. There's no paid clergy. Oh my gosh, of course there is. And we know what it is now. It's the Q15 and the first and second quorums of the 70.
And the mission president.
Well, and the mission presidents, yeah. But come on. I just need to see the fruits because we were promised we would. And so when I state facts like there have been no miraculous healings by any of the prophets, not that we've seen. And by the way, when someone gets a blessing and they have cancer, like, oh, I don't know, my wife, she got blessings from the bishop twice and then she died. And what do the members tell me? They say, well, it was her time. She was meant to go. My sister put her name on all of the prayer rolls that goes around the world for the different temples.
Randy, wouldn't it be a good enough miracle that if the church had $1 trillion someday, wouldn't that be a show?
Yeah, that's not miraculous. That's greed. But I asked my sister, what means more to God? The person in the temple who's in the prayer circle praying for my cancer-stricken wife, or her little girl who wants to keep her mommy around on her knees beside her bed? Which prayer offers more authority and more power? Because all I've heard Christ tell about and talk about and teach are blessed be the children. Oh, and Karen Carpenter, bless the beast of the children. But, you know, it's like, come on. By their fruits ye shall know them. And there's been no fruits that I can see except for an enormous amount of money, which goes exactly against what I've learned my whole life in the church, that it's more difficult for a rich man to get through the gates than it is for a poor man. President Holland was just talking about selling, when he was alive, about selling everything they have and devoting their lives to the work of Christ. Well, I don't see the church doing that, and I don't see the church doing what they request of their members. Leave your swords behind. Don't invest in weapons of war. Leave your billions behind and go out and serve God.
Let me just jump in here for a second if I can.
Yes, Chris, and I just want to say, so I do have a testimony, but it's not the one I used to have. The testimony I have now is that it's all about love. It's all about helping your fellow man and being there for the weak, the poor, and helping that poor wayfaring man of grief rather than buying his city up and selling it out from under him. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
It's getting a little late here, but I just, Randy, back to you. So, you know, thank you for that. I understand. I get it. You know, but if you're not active or, you know, whatever you call yourself, you know, you're not seeing the miracles that, you know, are there every day in the church. You know, we'll have general conference here in a couple of weeks, and, you know, you might hear something that, you know, it sounds like you're very familiar, and but come in here and listen, and you might hear something that, that would go along and answer some of your questions. It's hard to see miracles and things that we're not participating in. So, on one hand, you say you're not participating. On the other hand, you say you're not seeing it.
I'm not participating in an active way in the church, but I have never studied it and researched it more than I have in the last 5 years. And I've read more, not from anti-Mormon people, more from the gospel itself, the gospel topics essays, right, in the churchofjesuschrist.org. What my videos are about comes straight from the church.
Yeah.
I didn't even see those miracles when I was in, and I used to like check all the boxes, do all the things, actually pay attention in general conference. And yeah, general conference had nothing at all.
I'm so open-minded, Diamond. I looked for them too. I did look for the miracles.
Oh, I went hunting for it. And even like in my ward, like the sacrament talks, the fast and Sunday talks, all of it, just so like bland, generic, just the same thing worded in different ways. Other things happened too, obviously, but when I was like fully in and reading the Book of Mormon and listening to the Book of Mormon on the audio tape, because I lived in Provo, I moved to Utah from Minnesota when I joined the church. And like from Provo to Salt Lake City is about an hour 15-minute drive. It's like a 3.5 hour, 4-hour trip in winter in traffic, right? I just listened to the Book of Mormon, and I listened to Jasmine Bradley, Claire Mormon, and it just, there wasn't substance there, right? I realized before things, my first realization was that, like, there's more substance in the previous faith that I was in, which is what I am now, Hinduism. There was a lot more substance and a lot more depth than what I had joined. And that was kind of in the back of the mind throughout. So that was just my experience. But.
Well, I'm open-minded, and I don't seek for signs. I just seek for what the prophets have told us. This is the truth. This is the word of God. The blacks out. Those people that are born with disabilities and handicaps, as we've been told, were not valiant in the pre-existence.
That's Hillbilly's Lee's teaching. They changed that, Randy. Randy, they changed that.
No, God does not change his mind, Tim. God is the same from in the past as he is today. There's no changing the word of the prophet of God.
Yeah. You asked me a while back if there's one thing that I'd change in the church. I think the one thing that would be is I would hope that, past or present, the members would focus less on the culture of the church and more on Jesus Christ. I think people get hung up on culture and, things that aren't important, whereas we need to focus on Jesus Christ.
What are some of the
become more like Christ?
Like what do you consider?
Which Christ? The Christ of Matthew or Mark or Luke or John? Which one?
The babe of Bethlehem that was born.
Well, they're all different interpretations.
Well, interpretations, but there's one Jesus Christ.
No,
there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot. It's an amalgamation of many preachers who existed at that time in Palestine. And taken.
Well, I believe in the one Jesus Christ, the Son of God,
who doesn't exist. There's no evidence for it.
I appreciate your respect in our talking over these conversations.
I think you should take a class in New Testament studies and Old Testament studies at your local college to really.
I've taken many. But anyway,
they're not religious based.
Well, let Chris talk.
Okay.
So Gene, thank you so much for your critical thinking. I think you're probably the best critical thinker here. I really appreciate it. Randy, I truly hope that, your questions, all these questions that, you can keep looking and, understand these. Tim, my heart goes out to you. I can tell there's a lot of hurt. I recognize that. And I hope that someday you can find the healing that you're looking for, wherever it may be. Diamond Dave, all the way in Mongolia over there, if you don't accept our religion, please accept our friendship, or mine personally. So it's been great chatting with you guys. And
hey, Chris, here's one thing I would hope would be a change.
The Lord does not need your money.
So yeah, if they eliminated tithing as a requirement to get into the temple, that'd be a good change.
But now you got to listen to the rest of what he thinks he says. You can't just quote mine one thing.
Chris, and by the way, just to respond to what you said, thank you for saying that you hope I find the answers to my questions. But I do want you to know that I have. And I'm telling them to you. And I also want you to know that I love you as a brother, even though I don't know you. But I do know that you're indoctrinated. I was there. So, I mean,
we all were there at one time.
Make fun of Italian people because I'm Italian.
So, Randy, you have faith. You have faith that Chris someday will see the truth. His eyes will be open, and he will someday see the truth. Right? What's that saying? What's in my mind a second ago?
Your eyes will be open.
Yeah,
the scales will be lifted.
Yeah, and so that's Chris. How we feel from this side. We were on both sides, and some people lose their faith and then they regain it later on, and they write a book and sell it at Deseret and make some money. But more power to them.
I've never lost faith ever. I've only gained it since I left. And I'm so thankful. And I'm bearing my testimony to you, all of you, that I've never been happier in my life than I am since I adopted love as my gospel. Cherishing others, compassion to others. That to me is what it's all about. It's not about drink coffee or not drink coffee. Do you know the tokens and signs? Are you wearing the garments? No, because guess what? Christ taught love. That's it. Simple as that. Love one another, you're going to be okay.
And I actually feel more love for mankind on this side. It seems like there are lessons, and I don't know if it's the purpose of the lesson or whatever, that sort of limit your ability to love people. I hope for a big tent. I hope the LGBTQ can be part of the church.
When they pay enough tithing, Gene, then they will accept that.
And like I say, I hope women can be ordained, and that there's a lot of injustices that could be righted. And I hope that apologies could be made. And because to me, apologies are something that somebody can do to start anew, like to repent. It's part of like the repentance process. But anyway, so we're at sort of the limit. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tim, for letting us in your virtual living room. And we'll see you all
anytime. Anybody's welcome to here.
After show.
And then the after show, if anyone wants to join.
Yeah.
Guess I'll do the link one more time.
I had the courage to come into the lion's den here, so I hope you guys will have the courage to build bridges back. So
I appreciate it,
Chris.
You can stay if you want, Chris.
When you do your own podcast about believing Mormons,
come here a little bit.
I'll come on and say hi.
Come here.
Or actually, there is a good podcast, Chris. I can't remember.
Come here a little bit.
Randy, I think you and I interviewed him. He interviewed us. The guy from and I think he lives in Houston now too.
Oh, does he really?
What was his podcast called?
Oh man, that was
Chris, are you on Facebook at all?
I'm out there, yes.
So friend me on Facebook. There's not very many Gene Judsons. and I'll send you the link to the guy. It's something like, and will you still believe, or something like that. I can't remember the exact title.
I keep my Facebook pretty locked down, so I probably won't.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to share it somehow in maybe the comments to this afterwards.
Okay. Well, thanks, y'all.
Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Now that Alex is here, we're going to end the stream.
Hi, Alex.